Good morning. We'll call this Salary Board meeting of October 2nd, 2024 to order. And we'll begin with public comment. And Ed Mackhouse.
Ed Mackhouse, retired engineer, scientist, teacher, talking about what is happening to America. The salary board, the salaries and income that people get depends on what is produced, how well the economy is going. We have a strike here. We have the Teamsters Union, 60% supported Trump, and the union members are not satisfied. The last 3.5 years has been a disaster. The economy, inflation due to the lack of production of fossil fuels, the increase in the crime, and so this affects the stock market, and therefore the workers should wait till after the election if they believe that Trump will win. Then we can have the families in the last 3.5 years, each family lost around $2,000. During the Trump years, each family gained around $6,000. So when you increase your production, like we were since World War II, under Trump, we had the first time that we became energy independent and energy dominant, and people could invest in America, and that causes a stable interest rate. So the interest rate now, you have to pay $1,000 more a month to buy a house. So because people, when they invest in America, they can get oil and stuff. We produce stuff more. We had the fair tariffs. The taxes were lowered so that our American businesses could compete with foreign businesses, so the equal taxes. So we're helping the American billionaires, not the foreign billionaires, and American industry leaders. So American industry, Pennsylvania, we have the coal and steel, and we can pay high wages when we protect our country and our fossil fuels. The fossil fuels we have, the energy is clean, much cleaner here than when we have China producing bad fuels. So we can bring back America. In the debates, Josh Shapiro, if the Democratic Party allowed debates, Josh Shapiro would have obviously done better, and he would be a better candidate. Harris never competed. Biden never competed. They lied about his ability. The Democratic Party could have done a lot better. Kennedy, the best Democrat, supports Trump. So we had to bring the Democratic Party back to democracy, and then we can have the economy grow again, and our wages and salary, and we wouldn't have so many strikes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the August 7th, 2024 Salary Board meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to move around a little bit with the approval of the items today and start with human resources, and that's number 4 through 10. So Lauren Smith is here for that. Thank you.
Good morning, Salary Board. The HR department is responsible for managing many essential functions that impact the whole county. We handle job postings, onboarding, merit hire, salary board, benefits administration, trainings, leaves, accommodations, workers' comp claims, unemployment compensation, labor and employee relations, investigations, performance management, disciplines, terminations, government reporting, and union negotiations. Our biggest challenge year after year has been turnover, mostly attributed to salaries being below market rate. In April of 2024, the U.S. Department of Labor announced a final rule amending the Fair Labor Standards Act, the FLSA, increasing the minimum salaried exempt threshold, necessitating raises to bring 7 HR staff into compliance with the law. As of January 1st, 25, the minimum salary will be $58,656. This creates a pay compression issue. Additional increases are needed for appropriate distance between positions with different levels of responsibility. Some positions have room to accommodate raises without a cap increase. Others do not. I have organized the majority of the positions in the HR department into tiers. HR generalists are Tier 1, Senior Generalists and Benefits Administrator are Tier 2, and the HR managers are Tier 3. I'm here today requesting to raise the caps for the HR generalists, including the part-time position, and HR managers. The full-time HR generalist must be raised to comply with the law. The part-time generalist should be raised out of fairness. The HR managers haven't had their caps raised in several years, and their responsibilities have continued to grow. Each HR manager has oversight over another staff member, and each of them manages core functions for all employees countywide. By approving these cap increases and allowing for the raises I have budgeted for the department, HR will be in compliance with the Fair Labor Standards Act, and we will have appropriate spacing between the positions. It will help to reduce turnover and strengthen our succession plan, offering clear paths for advancement. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes. Good morning. For the HR managers, for position numbers 05530 and 06483, you are proposing a $22,781 cap increase for these two positions, one of which the employee has been there for 2.5 years, the other one for less than 2 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What are their primary duties?
One of them oversees workers' compensation. She oversees the person that processes the claims. She interfaces with attorneys for petitions that are being filed, helps with settlements. She also manages the drug testing program for the entire county. The other one has oversight over benefits management. She oversees the person that does the day-to-day benefits duties. She also is responsible for ACA reporting and other government reporting, and their HR business partners. So they take the lead. They help with the others in the department. They do investigations, disciplines, things like that. The reason why I put it to 90, I don't have the budget to pay them 90. I'm certainly not asking to pay them 90. I will be putting in for increases, but it will be far below the 90 cap. The reason I did that is for parity. We have another position that came to us from the Department of Corrections that performs HR-related duties specific to the Department of Corrections. That position is capped at 90.
So the primary duties that you just listed off, are these positions and the people in the positions, do they exercise discretion and independent judgment with respect to matters of significance that affect the government as a whole?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, just one more for these two positions. So does that mean when they exercise discretion and independent judgment, do they not have to come see you or superior to make, such as our COO or our Mr. Biscola, in making their final decisions?
It depends on the level that you're talking about. So they do make final decisions in some areas. Other situations would require higher approval.
And what are they allowed to do? They're using their independent judgment and discretion, like where they don't have to seek higher approval.
They are trusted to interface with anyone that they need to within the duties that they perform. So again, the one who manages the workers' comp program, she speaks to lawyers, she deals with petitions, she makes decisions on claims and guides the person in the lower position who does the claims processing. And then the same can be said for the other manager with the benefits administration.
Okay. And with the positions, the HR generalists, you're proposing, I believe, over $6,000 a year salary increase in the cap. For 3 out of the 4 employees have worked here less than a year. Is that correct?
Correct.
So how about these 4 employees? Are these employees' primary duty include the exercise of discretion and independent judgment with respect to matters of significance that affect government as a whole?
Yes, within their responsibilities. Each one handles core functions for the department and makes decisions for those areas.
Are those core functions a matter of significance that affect government as a whole?
I would say so. Each one of them is involved in hiring, onboarding, processing actions for county employees countywide.
They don't make the decision to hire, though, do they?
No.
Right. And this is a question for our solicitor here, has our solicitor reviewed whether or not these 4 positions or 6 positions fall within FLSA's exempt status?
I did not have a conversation personally with the solicitors.
So have you reviewed whether or not these fall within?
I personally haven't. We have several attorneys in our law department, one specifically assigned to HR. I'm not certain if she's reviewed it or not.
Okay.
I would like to add, I would like to add that these positions have been salaried for many years, going back to prior to when I was the head of HR, and they passed the salary exemption test at that time.
Right, well, I don't know what the circumstances were back then, but it doesn't appear to me that at a minimum, these 4 positions, the HR generalist, does not in fact meet the exempt status under the law. There are also a range of options to comply with the law, rather than giving a $6,000 raise for people who have been here less than, a year. And that includes paying them overtime if they do work overtime or eliminate their overtime. So have you considered those options rather than giving significant raises to these 6 individuals?
I did consider those options.
Okay. Perhaps that would end up saving the county money.
I don't believe that it would, because we all work more than 40 hours a week. I would have to estimate that and calculate that, which would be difficult to do since it does vary. They all check email in the evenings and they check email on the weekends. They respond to anything that's urgent. They all stay. We come in at 8, they stay past 5. They're working on things.
They all work here 5 days a week? They don't work from home?
My department offers 1 telework day. Not everyone even takes advantage of that. Some of them work 1 telework day, some of them do not.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Is there a motion to approve this?
We're looking at items 4 through 10?
Yes.
Is that accurate? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve 4 through 10.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
I just want to caution the board to everybody, remember, we're not looking at people or any of that. We're just looking at positions as we evaluate these.
Thank you.
Thank you. Law Department, this would be number 1.
Good morning, members of
morning.
the Salary Board. Just one item for you this morning that I would consider an administrative housekeeping matter to align the job title of this role with the duties and the other assistant county solicitor positions within the department. Although this position currently has some compliance-type duties that remain part of its portfolio, the reality is multiple assistant county solicitors have compliance-type duties within their role. So my preference with your approval would be to align the title to match the other positions within the department. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve number 1 for the Law Department?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's let the courts go back to work. So we'll do main courts next. And
Good morning, Commissioners. We have
Judge.
a total of 8 items. They're mostly easy ones, I believe. The first one is item 1 and 2 is to change the position from an assistant jury clerk to a court clerk. We have 2 people in the jury office full-time. We created that assistant jury clerk position to put a second person there and what we found out is we need 2 people there at the busiest times, like on a Monday morning, but we don't need them there full-time, 40 hours a week. So we would like to transfer them to supplement other people. It's actually a position that's already on the table. We're just changing the title and actually reducing the cost. The court clerk is just, we missed this one when we did this earlier in the year where we took per diem clerks and paid them the same rate as our regular clerks. This is one position that we missed, and so it's just kind of a housekeeping mission. And then the last positions are to create 2 administrative assistant court coordinators for our specialty courts. We got the grant for the drug court and specialty courts, mental health courts that you're familiar with. Certainly we have the enhanced veterans court program going into effect, and these positions were recommended by the grant providers that we have this position. We're taking positions that we currently have, and we're just increasing the cap in them. We're not going to give them the cap right now. We don't have any plans to do it. It was just part of the grant formation that they recommended that we add this stage because our programs are getting bigger and we need certain compliance reports.
So are you just changing kind of the title and the amount? They're already working there.
They're already working, yes. Well, one is a new position. One's a new position
Out of that grant.
because we have 2 courts, yes.
Are there questions?
Just one. Judge, for the first position you mentioned, changing from assistant jury clerk to court clerk.
Yes.
You mentioned that occasionally on those Mondays when you need 2 clerks there, would this
Person
position?
would still work there.
All right, so when you need them, they're there, otherwise they're doing other duties.
Right, we just don't need them there full-time, so we want to be able to move them, and because of their title being jury clerk,
Okay.
we thought it was better to actually just make them a court clerk.
More generic, okay, thank you.
Your Honor, did you want to make a motion for one?
All right, I'll move for the adoption of salary items 1 through 8.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Let's jump to the public defender. Get him back to work.
Morning, Salary Board. I have 2 matters for the Board's approval. The one is a change of title from social worker to social services advocate. The current position in our office is vital. She identifies treatment, medical services, transportation services, housing, and employment services for our client. And then her responsibility is to then advocate to get those clients into those services. I think social services advocate is a more accurate description of what her responsibilities are than social worker, so I'm requesting for the name change from social worker to social services advocate. The second matter is I'm seeking to add a diversionary court and problem-solving attorney to the Public Defender's Office. This Public Defender's position is fully funded for the next 3 years through an existing grant that's already been received by the Department of Corrections in their OutMate program. The new scope of the OutMate program is greater use of problem-solving courts. There are a great number of problem-solving courts within this county system to begin with: youthful offender, veterans court, drug court, recovery court, mental health court, and there's also the ADH probation department where they go ahead of time prior to the Gagnon 2 seeking release. There has been a move over the last decade to increase these problem-solving courts. I expect that trend to continue. I think this position is the county's recognition that these courts are so important, and these courts are the future of the criminal justice system, that having a dedicated public defender focused solely on operating within these courts is in the county's best interest. So I'm seeking that position as well.
Are there questions?
I just have one. So you mentioned earlier that you've received a grant that only pays for 3 years for this position. What's the outlook that you would get additional grants to fund it further? And which is probably a difficult question to ask. But what are the plans if you don't get funding after the 3 years?
Great question. I believe that the trend, including this year, I believe Judge Boylan has even found money to fund an additional part of the drug court program. I believe that trend will continue going forward. It's difficult for me to say, hey, here's what the court system looks like in 3 years. maybe there's a change in philosophy in the criminal justice system and these positions or these courts kind of go away. I don't think that's going to be the case. I believe that I will be coming to the board in 3 years saying the alternative courts, these diversion courts, are only increasing and therefore justifying the position.
Okay. So in 3 years, if it's not, this position's not funded again, you know, which hopefully it will be. But like you said, we just don't know what the budget will be in 3 years.
And I may be asking the county to take this off of the grant, if that's your question, yes.
That's my question.
I also don't know. This is actually a grant that came from the Department of Corrections with the Probation and Parole Department. I don't know if they are going to continue that grant in 3 years as well, or maybe that grant will be extended as well. So I don't know exactly what the situation will be in 3 years, except I believe I will be presenting the fact that this is a vital position because these problem-solving courts have only increased in time over the past 3 years.
Thank you.
The board, is it the board's pleasure that we have Mr. Boscola put a note that in 3 years, you need to come back and decide what to do?
That's what, yes, that's what we've done
Yeah, in the past.
previously.
Terrific. So is there a motion to approve items 11 and 12?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Communications?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here for items 1 and 2, I'm sorry, 2 and 3, for the Office Manager and Communications Associate for the Communications Department. Very similar reason I'm standing here as Ms. Smith was for the FLSA standards and U.S. Labor Department standards being changed effective the 1st of January, where our salaries are falling under that threshold.
Are there any questions?
Yes. Respectfully, these two positions, you know, looking at their job descriptions are clerical. I mean, the one's a clerical position. I mean, that's what it's detailed. There is nothing in the job description that even hinting that the employees, the position's primary duty includes the exercise of discretion and independent judgment with respect to matters of significance that affect the government as a whole. For the office manager, it's effectively over $9,000 increase. For the other position, the communications associate, associate, it's literally the lowest position in your organization chart, which is effectively an over $8,500 increase in salary cap. I don't think these two positions meet an FLSA exemption at all. Have you had our solicitor's department review these two positions to see if they do in fact fall within the exemption of the FLSA?
Not that I'm aware of, have not spoken with our law department, but both these positions passed the exemption test, and I don't believe those standards have changed.
Who passed?
Those questions any differently.
I apologize, I'm sorry, I
Passed the
didn't.
exemption test when the positions were created or salaried.
Oh, I would like to see the solicitor, and a solicitor's opinion on that. I don't think I mean, looking at, I mean, literally, the office manager's duties are greeting visitors, you know, forwarding them to where they may be, opening mail, performs general clerical duties, including copying, faxing, mailing, filing, routes media inquiries to the appropriate office personnel, handles daily delivery of newspapers. Doesn't sound like that's, you know, that position exercises judgment and discretion, independent judgment and discretion over any matters of significance that affect government as a whole. And same with the other one, same thing with the primary duties. Creates engaging content, video, audio, graphics. I don't see how that meets the test at all. I would submit that we have solicitor review these two positions, rather than giving them significant $9,000, $8,500 pay rate increases.
Are you giving a $9,000 pay raise.
The cap on, that I am proposing today is just matching what HR did.
Right, so this is just an idea to be consistent, which
I
is
can't
something that we need to
assume
do
that there's
more
going
of.
to be a 2% versus a 3%, 4% call. I can't assume that, so I have to have that flexibility built
And in
in.
all fairness, I have observed this person be necessary when we've had hurricanes, when we've had flooding, when we've had a pandemic, and there's media inquiries all the time. Is that, am I correct?
I mean, particularly the office manager job, the title does not do that job much justice. At the end of the day, it is certainly a skilled job, because I would challenge anybody in the county to go sit at that desk and answer every call that comes in and know exactly who to route it to, what sort of advice to give, or, you know, just who to talk to. Sometimes people call this county,
De-escalation techniques and things.
and she's great at that.
You might
And
want to
that's just
think.
that's a part of her job, but it's not the whole thing.
You might want to think about coming back, or at least working with HR to you know, address some changes that need to be made in the job description.
Sure.
She's doing more than that. Other questions?
Well, I just wanted to comment. There's no doubt that the people are great people. But like Commissioner Marseglia had mentioned, it's about the position, not the people. And of course, there are, again, I don't think these two positions, I mean, I know because our Controller's Department has done it. You and I had a conversation, I believe, last year. That has since changed. But the Controller's Department did field a lot of inquiries when no one was, you know, available to answer questions at the window. But that being said, I still don't think that these two positions, their primary duty includes the exercise of any discretion or independent judgment. So they may field media calls, but are they actually writing things and sending them out to media without your approval, without someone else's approval? I would be very surprised if that occurs. Without Jim O'Malley's approval, I don't think so. Without your approval, I doubt it. Without the commissioner's approval or our COO's approval, I find that difficult to believe.
Thank you.
So I would suggest, I'm just going to reiterate, I think that these two positions need a solicitor review. I mean, this is a matter of legal importance. Whether or not the county is exposing itself to possible, you know, suits down the line, you know, identifying someone and labeling them as exempt employees when they are not in fact exempt, exposes the county to litigation.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Nagy, how did it come to your attention that these two positions needed to be increased to stay in line with the law?
HR.
Okay, so human resources, which obviously deals with employment law and employment issues on a daily basis, were the ones who advised you?
Not my area of expertise.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Is there a motion to approve items 2 and 3?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Excuse me, what was the motion, Madam Chair?
A motion to approve 2 and 3?
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Thank you.
Coroner. Good morning.
Good morning, Salary Board. I'm back again. So this is an easy one. It's items 1 to 3. I want to propose to convert 2 per diem deputies to 1 full-time, just to give us better control over our schedule, because obviously when you're full-time, that's your priority, and when you're per diem, your full-time job takes precedence over that. So that's really it in a nutshell. So does anybody have any questions or concerns? Can I make a motion to approve?
You're making that, you can make a motion.
I need a handbook.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion to approve?
All right,
Items 1 through 3.
1 through 3.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks
Opposed?
so much.
Thank you. I should have done you first. That was quick. Are there any other items to come before the board today? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.